It would be hard to find someone who's had more influence on the Piedmont's hospitality industry than tonight's newsmaker.
His company currently owns 2 popular restaurants and a high-end hotel in Greensboro. Its third major local project is getting international attention. Dennis Quaintance is building what may be the world's most energy-efficient hotel.
Yeah. Congratulations. That's great. When I showed up in this industry and saw what was going on with it, I realized that I could actually make a living endeavoring to make people's day better. Yeah. I just couldn't believe it.
But Dennis Quaintance has come a long way, professionally and physically, from his roots. His large family, he's sitting on his mom's lap here, lived mostly in Iowa, Nevada, and Montana. But in those mostly rural areas, he couldn't find a job that piqued his interest until, at the age of 15, he started work as a hotel housekeeper's assistant. What is the single biggest thing you learned when you were 15 years old working in that motel that you still apply today to your company?
I learned that it's all about meeting the guests' expectations.
By 1977, his work so impressed the manager of the Village Inn in Missoula, Montana, he asked Quaintance to join him in Greensboro, where he was starting a new venture. That venture, which is now the Red Oak Brew Pub off Friendly Avenue, was originally called Franklin's Off Friendly. Quaintance was its general manager. A year later, he'd meet someone who'd change his life.
He was a regular guest at Franklin's Off Friendly, and he was so nice. And that's one of the reasons I stayed. Everyone around here was so nice to me and still is.
Quaintance and that guest, Greensboro businessman and philanthropist Mike Weaver, became business partners. Their first project, a restaurant, Quaintance named after his father's race car.
His car was number 32. I called it Lucky 32. Lucky 32 was this sort of icon in my life, so we named it Lucky 32.
Next came the O. Henry Hotel and its restaurant, the Green Valley Grill. Quaintance designed the hotel after a hotel of the same name that used to be in downtown Greensboro. Now, his company's building the Proximity Hotel. Quaintance named and designed it after Moses and Caesar Cone's now demolished cotton mill.
What a story that in the late 1800s that the Cone brothers would choose Greensboro, that Greensboro would choose them, that they chose it for its proximity to the cotton fields and transportation.
And like the Cone's mill was ahead of its time, so is this hotel. Why make the Proximity one of the world's most energy-efficient hotels?
Why not? If not us, who? If not now, when? And all this is all flame resistance and all that.
About 10% of the building materials here are recycled. It will use about 40% less energy than a comparable hotel and 35% less water. Speaking of water, none of the Proximity's energy-saving equipment stands out quite like the rooftop solar panels.
And there's 98 solar panels. I think we're going to have, we found room for 2 more, so I think we'll have an even 100.
And they'll help produce enough energy to provide hot water for 100 average households. When will this pay for itself?
Well, there's tax credits from the state and from the federal government, and you couple that with about $14,000 to $15,000 to $16,000 a year in energy savings, we'll get our money back out of this in 4 to 6 years. But the guest can't tell if this hot water was heated by the sun or by natural gas. They probably, to a certain extent, some of them might not care, but they may appreciate that they get all of the luxury with a little bit smaller footprint.
Speaking of luxury, the rooms will have a loft-like appearance, high ceilings and large windows, but with traditional furnishings. In fact, they'll look exactly like this prototype room Quaintance has set up off-site. The hotel's restaurant, the Printworks Bistro, will take the name of another Greensboro Cone textile mill. This is the restaurant, right?
Right, this is the restaurant, and the bar will be at the front. As you can see, those big openings, those will be filled with windows that'll have operable doors so that on a nice day, we'll just open those doors and it'll be wide open.
For Dennis Quaintance, it's all coming together. His company, Quaintance-Weaver Restaurants and Hotels, is growing. He's close to his family. His wife, Nancy, also works for the business, and both he and Mike Weaver have twin children. But he never gets too far away from his professional goal.
We do not want to be distracted. We need to deliver for this town and set the momentum, the trajectory, as I call it, in place so that we have this culture and this competence to really perform for our guests.
Get this, the Proximity also has elevators that generate electricity as the cars descend. There's also an energy recovery system that, to put it in simplest terms, uses the inside air to help cool the fresh air it pumps back in. Quaintance hopes to open the Proximity this fall. Projected room prices are around $189 a night, or about 25% less than the O. Henry. For more on the Proximity's energy-saving features, check out my blog on myfoxwghp.com. It's titled The Innkeeper. There's also a link to the hotel's website. Just look for the story in the Seen on TV section.